जय कहरे कीरत आखियै करते का होए विचारो तित कहरे गावहो सोहिला सिवरे हो सिरजनहारो।
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to lesson 2. So today we're going to be going over lines 1 and 2 of Soila. So your workbook, the syllabus should tell you exactly what lines, what activity we're going to do today. Basically, the overall point of these two lines here is talking about Sangat. Sangat meaning community, and the importance of having the right Sangat. So your facilitator should have already translated the lines for you, but let me just repeat them. The first line, line 1, in the house, basically the God that Guru Nanak is talking about is like the company, that Sad Sangat, in which God's praises are sung and discussed. In that house with those people, sing the praises of and constantly remember the Creator God. First thing I wanted to talk about here, and this is something that'll be happening throughout Soila, but it's good you listen to it and look at it right now, are the various different words that are used for God. Now you look at, for example, the first line here, Garte refers to the Creator God. Right? In Sikhi, we believe in one God, of course, but because God has so many of these beautiful characteristics, these beautiful actions He does, He creates and destroys and forgives and makes us happy. Guru Sahib actually uses various different words to describe God depending on what He's doing. So in English, for example, it's only a couple of words that we use. We use God, we use Lord, we use words like that mainly. But in Sikhi though, we have so many different words that describe God, emphasizing the love that the Guru had with God and the love with His qualities and attributes, as well as just poetic creativity as well. Because Bani is poetry, spiritual poetry. So I wanted to point that out for you. The Garte on the first line refers to the Creator God, of course one God, but just His attribute of creating. And then Sirjanharo again refers to God in the creator form. So two different words describe Akal Purukh Vaheguru, but referring to the same God, of course, just emphasizing the creativity of the Guru, and of course, more importantly, the love that the Guru had for God, and describing all these different cool things that he does. So going back to Sangat here, let's talk about Sangat for a second, because most people, when they think of Sangat, right, they think Sangat is one of those words that, it's good. It's referred to so many times in Sikh student associations, in conferences, in camps. Sangat, Sangat, you always hear the word Sangat. But Sangat is community. There's a such thing as a good Sangat and a bad Sangat. Having a good Sangat leads you one way. Having a bad Sangat leads you another. Before we get to that idea, let's talk about what exactly is Sangat. What is community? Now, obviously, the first answer to what is Sangat is made up of people, right? Your friends, your family, whoever you spend time with, and whoever, as a result, has some sort of influence on you, who you may listen to, advice, or just anything. Anyone that you surround yourself with is part of your Sangat. You guys are on college campuses right now, so right now, my guess would be for the majority of you, your friends are your main Sangat in terms of people. Obviously, your family is part of your Sangat too, but if you live on campus, maybe you don't see your family as much during the semester or the quarter as you would if you lived at home. So definitely your friends are part of your Sangat, your family is part of your Sangat. But then most people forget that Sangat is anything that affects you. Anything that affects the way you think, the way you act is your Sangat. So what are we missing here? We talked about friends, we talked about family, but what else affects you? And that's your media that you consume. The music you listen to, the movies you watch, the TV shows you watch, social media, right? The websites you go on, the apps you use, that's all part of your Sangat. Because those media attributes, those media sources all have an effect on how you think and act, right? If you watch a movie or listen to a song that promotes a certain behavior or an action, you are consuming that media, and that's becoming a part of you. That's becoming part of your Sangat, right? You cannot ignore that influence. So I have a lot of friends that their entire mood changes based on what media they're consuming. They listen to a song and suddenly they feel this way. They watch a movie about this, suddenly they feel a different way. That's what media wants you to do. The media wants you to be affected by it. So anything that affects you is part of your Sangat. So we went over friends, we went over family, we went over media. Sangat, at the end of the day, can lead you towards something. It can take you away from something. And your Sangat is at its core a representation of who you are as a person. Now let's say we take some random person, we call him person A. So you don't know who person A is. You've heard of him, right? Maybe he goes to your school. You know his name, but you've never actually met him before. And you want to sort of know more about him before you meet him. You just want to do your homework. So what do most of us do to learn more about that person who we don't know, right? The first thing we do is we find out who are his friends, right? Who does he surround himself with? And these days of social media, with Facebook and everything, you can see your mutual friends very easily. I know all of us here have done that before. So you go on Facebook, you look at their mutual friends, or maybe you ask around, hey, like, who does this person hang out with? Like, who's in his circle? And if you notice, like, among your mutual friends, all those friends that he has, his best friends that he spends the most time with, let's say they're all very arrogant people, very stuck up and rude people, right? They're known for that. You've seen that. You've experienced that. They're just extremely, extremely arrogant people. Most likely, right, chances are that if your friends, if all of them are arrogant, if all of them have a big ego and all of them act in a certain way, it's likely that you may act in the same way, right? I know some of you might think, hey, that's unfair. You're judging this person without actually meeting them. And that's not necessarily wrong. But at the end of the day, the way the world works is that you are judged. Your emotions, your actions, your thoughts are a reflection of those that are around you. You are who you surround yourself with. And a lot of people have told me saying, well, hey, you know what? I'm not like my friends in certain ways. I know my friends have certain negative qualities. I don't deny it. But I'm not like that. They tell me that all the time. Hey, I'm not like my friends in this way. I know they are, but I'm not like that. And I don't disagree with them. I'm like, okay, I believe you're not like that. But the fact that you are with people like that, over time, it's likely that their behavior will start to influence your own behavior. Their way of thinking will start to influence your way of thinking. Whether it's subconsciously, whether it's consciously, over time, we become more tolerant of that behavior. We become more okay with it. Maybe day one when you saw that behavior, you were completely just disgusted. You couldn't believe they were doing what they were doing. But move on to year 4. And suddenly what disgusted you first day, you're completely fine with, because you become used to it. So your thoughts and actions have changed. They've evolved over that time because of your Sangat. Your Sangat has changed the way you look at certain things. So even though you may not do those things or act in those ways, it still has an effect on you. And that's what Guru Sahib is saying too. If Guru Sahib felt that, hey, you can maintain all your independent thoughts and actions and those around you don't matter, he would have never talked about Sangat or talked about the importance of community here. The reason why Guru Sahib says very clearly here in the second line, Tit kar gavo sohila sivro srijanharo, in that house sing God's praises, right? In that particular house, in that Sangat. Right? So let's say you want to get closer to God, but all your friends, everyone you surround yourself with, your closest people, they're not supportive of this, right? They don't want you to do this. They're not encouraging. It'll be difficult for you to get on that path, right? And let's look at the flip side. If you have friends and a Sangat that is on board with the same goal you are on, look how much easier that'll become. Right? If all of you guys are supporting each other, if all of you guys are encouraging each other, you're inspiring each other, that, hey, we want to get here. We want to get close to Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Let's all work together to get there. That's where Sangat is at its most beautiful form, where it's working perfectly, where it's encouraging people to go towards something good. I know I have seen when I was in college, when I was in grad school, I have seen how Sangat affects people. I've seen people that have entered their freshman year of undergrad or their first year of grad school in a certain way, and I've seen what friends they make, and when they graduate, they're a whole different person. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. The bottom line, though, Sangat has a huge, huge effect on how someone acts and behaves. I also want to point out to you guys as well the importance of singing here. You notice that in the second line, Guru Nanak Sahib says gavo, right, to sing. The word to sing, gavo, gavarna, any sort of form of that word has appeared countless numbers of times in Gurbani. We talked about Rag last week. This Bani is meant to first be sung and then read. That's how it was revealed to Guru Nanak Sahib. So again, the importance of singing here is depicted once again. Lastly, I just want to sort of introduce the next part of Soila that's about to come in the remaining Shabad. There is a wedding metaphor being explained by Guru Nanak Sahib, in which he's going to talk about dying and meeting God, comparing to a girl who's getting married and going to her in-laws' house. So I just wanted to just introduce briefly that metaphor, perhaps even if you wanted to read about it beforehand, or you wanted to think about that before coming into class next week. It's a very, very beautiful metaphor. It makes a lot of sense, and it's extremely, extremely important for you to understand the overall feeling of Soila and the overall point that Guru Nanak Sahib is trying to make. So again, to quickly wrap up, Sangat here is critical. Guru Nanak Sahib makes it clear very, very specifically in these lines that, hey, you know what? I want you to go to that Sangat that sings God's praises. I want you to go over there and I want you to sing with them. I want you to go over there. I don't want you to go to any random environment, random place. I want you to go to that Sangat, because that Sangat will inspire you. It'll help you on that journey to get closer to God. Going somewhere else, you can try it if you want, but Guru Nanak Sahib recommends and instructs us here that, pick this Sangat. Be very careful with your Sangat. Don't take it lightly. Who influences you? Who are your friends? What family members do you listen to most? Your significant other? Anyone that has an influence on you as part of your Sangat, your media, movies, TV. Be wise. Be careful what you're listening to and how it's affecting you. Guru Nanak Sahib says it's all part of your Sangat. So I hope you enjoy the activity you're about to do. We'll see you next week. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ